The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.
Hello, Cherries fans, and welcome to this preview of the FA Cup game against Wolverhampton Wanderers. It is a shorter preview. We will have Dave from Talking Wolves on again to discuss what he reckons is going to happen and also whether or not he thinks either Wolverhampton Wanderers or AFC Bournemouth could be lifting the FA Cup. Now, before we get going, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell button below. It helps the channel to grow. So before we do get into this, here's a bit about our sponsors, Dental on the Banks. Find out more about them, visit dentalonthebanks.co.uk, and also do check out our other sponsors, Touchpoint Telecoms, for all your business telecoms needs. Do contact Mark and the team at touchpointtelecoms.co.uk. So, of course, it feels like deja vu, but hopefully it isn't for AFC Bournemouth. Of course, deja vu would mean another defeat to the team from Molineux, and what a team they are becoming now under Vitor Pereira. It does look like they really have turned the corner after Gary O'Neill. Yes, that man that I said, shouldn't have been sacked, and how great he was. He lost the dressing room there at Wolverhampton Wanderers, and I think they made the right decision in the end. So it's showing now. So they do have a lot of danger men in their side, as we've already spoken about on cherry picking. It's a game that we need to win and want to win because we aren't looking over our shoulder. Yes, we might drop down a couple of places, but some silverware out of this season would be even more immense for this football club. So can we win the FA Cup? Who knows? We can only dream. We can only but dream, but fingers crossed we might be able to do it. So I'll tell you what, let's bring in the special guest. And here is Dave from Talking Wolves.
Yes, everybody, it's Dave from Talking Wolves. Craig, sorry I can't join you again today, but we meet again. I'm hoping, obviously, Wolves were on the end of a victory again. It was a massive 3 points for us last week. You would have seen, in the table, it helped us massively. I know, obviously, it was a little bit controversial, which I'll get into, but it was a huge 3 points for us. It's a shame we couldn't build on it during the week. We lost out to Fulham in what was a really flat and frustrating performance, if I'm completely honest. But, we thankfully, results for Leicester and Ipswich went our way, and, we're in a decent position. It's frustrating that, as a Wolves fan, a team that have been established in the Premier League for so long now, that we're having to rely on results of other teams, especially, no disrespect, the likes of Ipswich and Leicester. But here we are, we now focus on the FA Cup, a nice little change. It's going to be such a tough game because I think even when we went down to 10 men last week, you guys made it so difficult for us. I don't think it was our best performance of the season, if I'm completely honest. And I think Bournemouth fans would probably see that. There were a lot of Bournemouth fans probably disappointed because despite you having 10 men, you probably felt you could have got something out of that game. I felt you started off much stronger than us. We grew into the game. And although maybe it was a little bit more even after the red card in the second half, I still think we did enough to restrict you guys. And, you didn't have many clear-cut opportunities. Although I felt your deliveries and your set pieces and stuff were quite disappointing. As an opposition fan, if I was in your shoes, Craig, for argument's sake, I would have been disappointed with those deliveries and so on. But it was crucial we got the goal as soon as we could after the red card, to be honest. And it was that man again, Mateus Cunha, right place, right time for us, and he puts the ball into the back of the net. But I think Wolves fans are going into this now really, of course, excited, because same with you guys, we're a team, and both teams haven't really, had huge amounts of silverware in recent years. I think both teams will feel and look at the FA Cup draw and think, what if? This could be a potential year that a team such as Bournemouth or Wolves could go and lift the title. And it'd be great to see a team of our stature go on to do that as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be a tricky game. We know Bournemouth are going to be up for it, I think, especially after last week. The red card obviously caused a lot of conversation. I think, obviously, I wasn't at the game, so I saw the replays and so on. I can see why Bournemouth fans would have been upset in the ground that it was given. But I think if you sort of sit back and as a neutral and you understand the current laws of the game, I don't think you can argue with it being a red card. I know he gets a touch of the ball, and I know there's no real intent to hurt or injure Ryan Aït-Nouri, and he's unfortunate, Zabani is, but unfortunately it's just the rules of the game, and it's one of those incidents. And I understand, obviously, the appeal's been rejected and he won't be part of your squad tomorrow, which of course is a boost for us. I'm not 100% sure what the team news is like for you guys, but I'm sure Craig will update me on our preview as well. But in regards to Wolves, it's sort of similar to last week, to be honest. A big miss for us is Emmanuel Agbadou, the centre-back, who since signing in January has been fantastic for us. Looks so much better defensively when he's in the squad, to be completely honest. So he will be a big miss. Gonzalo Gedge is also out, and young Rodrigo Gomez also injured. But like I said, all three of those are missing last week anyway. So no real massive changes. Hwang Hee-chan potentially will come back into the squad for us. But in terms of lineup, I think Vitor Pereira understands how important this trophy is to fans and the club. So we will go with a strong team. The only change I could probably see is the goalkeeper, and it more than likely be Sam Johnston, who will come in for Jose Sarr in goal. Other than that, I think it'll be as strong as possible and probably a very similar lineup to what we saw against you guys. I would probably, if I had to pick, put Jorgen Strand Larsen, the striker, in for Marshall Manetzi, who was the big actual holding midfielder who's played up front for us against you guys last weekend. But the FA Cup means, in my lifetime, I've never seen Wolves win a series and a top piece of silverware. It's an amazing, amazing feeling. I've been to Wembley a couple of times with Wolves, albeit once was in the league when Tottenham were playing there, but also we had the FA Cup semi-final against Watford, which was heartbreaking when we completely threw that away, to be honest. So although it'd be nice to get to that stage, even the final, it would be an unbelievable feeling. But like I said earlier, I think there's two teams here that are capable, and on our day we can beat probably most teams in the Premier League, I think, with the teams remaining in the competition at the moment. But as Bournemouth fans, I think you've got to be excited. You've played some unbelievable football this season. You're towards the top end of the Premier League. You've had unfortunate things go against you or injuries, but on your day you can definitely, as I think Wolves can beat different teams. But I think you guys have shown it on a more consistent level this season, and that's why I think tomorrow is going to be a very interesting game. Can Wolves, after such a flat performance on Tuesday, and same with Bournemouth, you guys lost out as well, which team is going to bounce back, which team is going to show the spark, and which team is going to want it more to get to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup? Because a win tomorrow for either team, I think we can maybe both start to dream what if. But thanks for having me again, Craig. Fingers crossed we catch up again properly next season. It's looking a lot more likely that Wolves will stay in the Premier League now. I think it's interesting, if you ask Wolves fans, would you won the FA, would you take relegation to win the FA Cup? I think a good amount would actually say yes. But I think realistically, looking at, I said earlier, I think there's every chance one of us could go all the way. But I think for me, Premier League survival is still very important. So yeah, let's see. I wouldn't sacrifice this FA Cup run for that. I think we're good enough to compete on both fronts, but we'll wait and see. As always, look after yourself, Craig, and like I said just now, fingers crossed we catch up again next season. But apart from tomorrow, boys, all the best for the rest of the season. And like I said last week, great to see another team outside of the traditional top 6 up there and competing with the best.
So there we are. There is Dave's thoughts. Do let us know your thoughts in the comments below as well. Do you think that firstly we can beat Wolves this weekend, but secondly, can we actually go all the way? Yeah, there is going to be the likes of Manchester United, Man City, and so on in this as well, in this agenda. But at the same time, we've beaten both of them. And, we have nothing to fear from any other team in this competition should we get through. It might be a case where if AFC Bournemouth want to win this competition, we're going to have to knock out Manchester City sooner rather than later, rather than go into the final. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can do the job. I'm going for a 2-1 win to AFC Bournemouth. I did say that last weekend as well. But fingers crossed, up the Cherries. We'll see you soon.
The Talksport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the Talksport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search Talksport Fan Network.